Welcome to the Transformation Institute's podcast for change. Here is our host, Omari JAHI Aton.
Hey, welcome back to the Transformation Institute podcast for change, y'all. I'm your host, Omari JAHI, and it's Thursday night, y'all, and we are back again here, and we are in the heart of Black History Month. You know, we spend a whole lot of time looking back at the chains that our ancestors broke physically. However, today we want to have a discussion on the invisible mental chains we are still wearing. Today we are talking about breaking family curses and deciding right now that the trauma stops with us. So let me do this by starting off by introducing my co-host. Please put your hands together for my girl Vanessa, my man Will. He back on the saddle again. Welcome back, Will. We got V in the building, Londa, cousin Brenda, and hey. me too, Kim. Oh man, we got a full house tonight, man. All we missing is Darlene. But hey,
Londa just went away.
Yeah, well, we ain't gonna even go there. But anyway, welcome to the Transformation Institute podcast, y'all. Thank you all for being on. Also, be mindful that we do have where you can put your comments and suggestions in the comment section, you know, and we will get to your comments as we can. Sometimes we're not able to get right to them, but we'll get to them as soon as we can. So tonight, our conversation is going to be about breaking family curses, creating a better tomorrow for our families today. So with that being said, I guess we need to probably start off with talking about, you know, what is a curse? What kind of curse are we talking about? Defining what a curse is. Well, we're not talking about no voodoo stuff or no magic. We're talking about patterns, you know, generational family patterns that we keep repeating. You know, to give you an example, you know, and I think I've used this before. You know, my father was married before he married my mother. They didn't have any children. I was married before I married my wife, my present wife, and we didn't have any children. My son could probably go, you know, that's a pattern. And it's a possibility. I don't know, because I don't know my father's father. And I don't know if he knew him enough to ask him or talk to him about things like that. But these are certain little patterns that go on in families, and we're not even aware of them. You know, and these things can go on for years. I know of a young lady that has issues with her mother, you know, and her mother, and no, not a young lady, had a daughter. And then the daughter, when she grew up, she had issues with her mama. Now those issues, there's something going on in that family tree that's causing these issues, but nobody seems to be able to be brave enough to investigate or whatever to say the buck stops with me. And that's kind of what we're talking about tonight. So what do you guys think about, or do you guys know of any family curses, or maybe if you know of some in your family that are constantly being repeated? You can see them in your young nieces and nephews or grandchildren or whatever. Certain little, we calling them curses because we keep doing them over and over again. What do you all think? I'm gonna play that song. I'm gonna play that song.
I know. I mean, me personally, I come from a family of addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that's one that I noticed in myself that I had to tame. And I mean, it's still an everyday decision for me too.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? I'm still it's still it's like a lifelong journey,
Mm-hmm.
and that you got to make the right choice every day. But I noticed that in like a lot of my families, whether it's drugs, alcohol, gambling,
Mm-hmm.
sex, these are things I noticed that come from within my my family and the way I was brought up
Mm-hmm.
and things I've seen and stuff like that. So it runs
But
deep.
you identified it and you decided to kind of stop it with you, whereas other
Yeah,
people in your family probably was just going, just wasn't even recognizing it was a cycle. You know.
right. It just been passed on to them, and then it's just kind
Mm-hmm.
of like you don't have the will to like want to stop or break it because it's just like such a habit, and it becomes
Mm-hmm.
such a habit that it just becomes a way of life. And it's taking you down, but then it's just like you don't know how to come back up from it because you feel like it's something you need.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I know exactly because I know my father. He drank a lot, you know, and my thing was drugs. I can alcohol ain't. I don't even like alcohol to be honest with you. I don't drink really. I drink a beer here and there, but as far as alcohol, I don't even touch that. You know, probably because of my father, and I recognize that cycle, but I still see even in my son, you know, he's not a drug addict or alcoholic or anything, but the potential is there because if I don't make him aware of his grandfather and his father and the habits that we had or the bad habits that we had, and when things get rough in life, you know, usually some addiction, you begin to develop some addiction and you either start overeating, you drink too much, you smoke too much, you start doing stuff to numb the pain. And so with my son, I want to make sure that I didn't get a chance to break it because I didn't recognize it until I was in it. You know, I was smoking crack and crap, you know, and it got to the point where when I started stealing money out of the household to get high, then I know it was too bad. It had gone too far, you know. And so I just thank God that He took that from me, and now I'm looking out for my son, and I want to make sure that if I see him going down that path, I want him to know the history, you know, of this cycle that we have, so that he don't have to repeat it. And I think that makes our family line stronger as generations, one generation go to the next, it gets stronger instead of getting weaker because every generation has to keep repeating the same mistakes of the generation before them because nobody from the generation before them told them about the mistakes that they were making and things like that.
Mhm.
So anybody else got any comments, suggestions? Here, we got a wait a minute real quick. Beloved Lion saying awesome, brother Tab, breezing through. Oh, he was just saying hi. Okay, go ahead. Who's that? Londa? That wasn't Londa, Kim? That was you? It was
That was
someone.
me. That was me. I was just thinking, I'm like, you only said your father,
Mm-hmm.
you and your son, so you didn't know your father's father.
No, I
Um,
didn't. Never met him. Nope.
right. So but did you grow up thinking that your father was an alcoholic or that your father drank?
No, I knew he was alcoholic. I seen him crawl up the stairs multiple times.
Okay. Okay.
late at night. I mean crawling up. Knees, knees and hands crawling up the stairs, you know, and my mother cussing him
Okay.
out, you know. So
Okay.
I've seen it, yeah, I know. And
Okay.
I don't again, you know, and it's not just that, because there are other things that
Okay.
depict there are people, um, there are families that don't believe in banks, you know, and they keep their money under the mattress.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? But and that comes from a lack of trust. Back in the day, that's how people black folks kept their money in a shoebox or, like I say, under the mattress or whatever. But I'm not saying that I have 100% trust in the banking system today, but it's a lot better than it was back in the day. Whereas if I put my money in the bank, I haven't had no challenge with not being able to go to the bank and get my money if I wanted it. Whereas back in the day, they had some kind of issues. Maybe I don't know because I didn't live back then. But that was something that people could carry over generational. Don't put, they tell their children, don't put your money in the bank.
Is that a curse though, or is that a curse, like a family curse?
It is if you're not benefiting. See, it's like this. If I keep my money under the mattress and I don't even think about investing in, like today we have the option or the opportunities to take our money, invest it in some property, fix the property up, rent it out, or flip it and sell it and make money. Now, if I kept my money under the mattress, then my money ain't helping me. So I would maybe curse is a strong word, but if it's not benefiting us, the things that we're holding on to, these patterns that we are taught from our fathers and grandparents and things of that nature, if we're holding on to those things and they're not benefiting us, I believe that's probably why it's called a curse. But what are your thoughts?
I just object to the banking situation just because I just don't agree with that one. Especially when you have information or knowledge, like with banks, like those are not your friends and you don't benefit anything with your money being put into a bank. So what do you actually benefit from the money that you have, or what you think is a money that's actually a note, a reserve note, sitting in the bank versus under your mattress? Like there's really no benefit from it. And if nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody that I know of personally, actually reads the documents that they sign with the bank or know that they have a signature on file and what the bank does with all of those things behind closed doors. So it's probably safer for you to actually have at home because you're really not benefiting anything from it. But again, that part goes with financial literacy. I don't think it has nothing to do with a curse. I think that's part of financial literacy and the things that are being withheld from us personally.
Well, okay, I can agree with that.
I guess if your mom or your grandmother did it and then your mom did it and then you did it and you all never invested anything, you had an attitude about it, and it your monies weren't growing, or I don't know, maybe you could call it a curse then, because in these years now, like 2026, if somebody is still, say they 30 years old and saying, I'm just putting my money under under my sheet, or whatever, that may seem like a curse. But I do know of a few people who, I don't know if their parents or grandparents didn't put monies in banks, but I know of a few people in this day and age who feel safer keeping their money at home. I mean, things have changed, but some people feel that things haven't changed necessarily for the better for us with the banks, because the bank savings accounts, they are ridiculously low. I mean, well, at least mine is. What they say, 1.something%. I mean, that's kind of crazy to me. I guess maybe it may be something, but there are people today that I mean, and I was kind of surprised that they don't put their money there. But I mean, it's a thought. It kind of makes you think about it. Putting your money in a safe.
For the average person, like the average person, not the wealthy, I'm gonna say the middle class people. I would say, what percentage do y'all think of the middle class people, the middle class working people that actually gets a paycheck bi-weekly, put their paychecks into a bank, and then rent or a mortgage comes out, the car note comes out, the insurances comes out? How much do you think they actually have left over after paying their day-to-day expenses? Like
Not
it's really
much.
not nothing left there. And whatever is left over, I'm sure they can actually keep at home for a rainy day, because my personal opinion is that if that bank was to shut down, if they were to go out of business, if their system was to fail, you have no idea how to recover your funds, but they have these IC insured just for me. So I don't think the mass majority are going to lose any benefits there. But contrarily to that, I'm 100% that for the family curse, I would say the financial literacy part is the part where they failed us.
I agree. Like I say, yeah, I definitely agree. Yolanda, she says, what's this? They use your money to fund loans and make money off of it. This is true. I know they do that. You know,
Right.
they use your money for loans, and they making money off of your money. You know, and so I know that's happening. But like you said, that was a bad example. But what about this one? Check this one out. I got one that says the look rich versus be wealthy trap.
The what?
The look rich versus being wealthy. So this is it's talking about prioritizing depreciating assets, or like we prioritize stuff that depreciates: cars, clothes, shoes. Um, these things signal status, you know, rather than appreciating assets like land, life insurance, retirement funds that build security.
Mm.
You see, we because we can only operate off of what we are being taught, you know. And so if in our households we're teaching our young people, and most of the time it's being taught by example. You know, I see parents buying little babies Jordans. You know, they can't even walk. You see what I'm saying? And then that baby grows up to be an adult and have children, and that concept of status, wanting to be in the status quo of my children wear the designer clothes and this, that, and another, you know. And so this is something like it's passed on generationally, you know, and it hurts our family in a sense, because that money we spend on Jordans, on Mercedes, instead of some hoopty or whatever, as long as you can get back and forth to work, that money we're spending, it depreciates us as a family in some way or another, because we can't really get the things we need because we constantly getting things that we want. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I mean, I've never thought of that. Well, I guess that could be called a curse, but what is the name that you gave that? What did you say? The what? The
Yeah, it's called the looking rich. How we look
the
rich.
looking
We look rich because we have all the designer clothes. We got the designer shoes, the designer glasses, the sports cars, all of the stuff, the jewelry, all of that stuff. We look rich versus being wealthy.
Okay, and I agree with that. That's kind of a curse for a lot of people that's doing that. Because yeah, when I see some things that young kids have, like how the proms have changed, and I'm not
Yes.
diminishing that,
Yes.
the thing, but in reality, um, for those who cannot afford it, to have proms where their car is that they rent is so expensive, that they even rent another house or
Yeah.
place to have the prom at. And when the kid was in school, the kid had everything. They come out, all of that. I don't want to seem like a hater, because I'm not. I've gone to the prom send-offs where the people were, dressed to the nines, the shoes, and then when the kids display the money, that thing. I think that has kind of messed us up. And it also does something to the kids who are in the class with you, whose family
Mm-hmm.
cannot do that. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? It makes them, they got to be having arguments with their mom and dad about, so and so
Right.
them, they going in what's the new Bugatti? Am I saying that right?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
so I mean, I think that is I think that if you want to call that a curse, I do think that's a curse. I know that a lot of parents seem to be thinking that all they're doing is giving their kids what they couldn't have.
Right.
But at the end of the day, if your kid, some of those kids don't even go to college. Some of those kids don't go to business school. Some of those kids just have that whole big old thing all through high school, and then they do nothing. And I don't know if if that teaches the parent something, or does the kid learn anything. So that could be called the curse, according to if you're going without so that this kid can be so dapper on prom. If a family is going without, then that is a curse in our families. That is, and I think that's terrible.
I think this ties in kind of with the example Tyrone gave, and then Londa said it's touching on financial literacy. So that may be the curse itself right there, us being financially illiterate and passing it down, because if our parents taught us how to manage money better, then we would in turn teach our children how to manage money better. And then that would break that financial literacy curse.
You're right.
Because of the time now and society wanting to keep up with the Joneses more now than ever, I think that's why we're falling into this trap. Now, one thing's for sure is a lot of these people who are doing all of this, they can't afford it. And you're looking at them, and people are looking at them rather, and thinking, oh, they doing it big. They got it going on. And we don't see that they eating pork and beans and hot dogs like for 2 months straight, because they done played off all their money just to do that one big event and look big to everyone else. We've always had a problem with our culture trying to keep up with the Joneses, and the Joneses may have been the others. That being said, sometimes we didn't sit back and realize that while we were trying to keep up with the Joneses were rich, and they didn't spend their money like we do. When you look at us buying all the brand new Jordans when they first come out, or going broke for this just so we can say we have it, the rich people aren't doing that, baby. They got on what we used to call the little white girl shoes, the little cheap tennis shoes. They got those on. They got on regular little polos. If we wear polo, it's got to have somebody's name on it. It's got to pop. You feel like you got to do this and that. But again, that goes to how we teach and how we're taught, because when I was growing up, I didn't have to have all of these fancy things to feel like I was good or I belonged or whatever. But the things that I wanted, I had because I worked for them and got them. So it's sometimes it's about the way we're taught and how we teach our own, because there's nothing wrong with having nice things. But if you're going to let those nice things control you, that's the problem right there.
Or if you can't pay your rent.
Right.
And somebody got to help you out. But families are catering to that too. Some families, not everybody. Some people do have the money, but some families are catering to that, because they'll help the kid look real good that day, and then they gotta kind of come help you pay your bills the next month, or it's the look. I think social media. I mean, I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook. I mean, I'm on there because I can talk to every cousin I got all over the world almost. But I'm not allowing social media to like make me do things to look good. I never want to have to look good, and it's not a brag. That's just who I was raised up to be. But I'm kind of saddened by a lot of things I mean, it's more than just that. The young boys who are, because to me, a lot of these young boys look alike with the dreads. I'm not hating on dreads. I'm just saying it's like a style of things. So now your son want to wear his hair like that. The little kids want to wear their hair like that. Everybody, but then they don't know the consequences behind that, with the crimes being done, and then they can look at them and say he was a black boy with dreads.
Yeah, he looked like he looked like he was the person we was looking for. And so they shoot him down.
They shoot him. I mean, they a lot of things are done without thinking, without considering things. They're just doing it. When you display all that money at prom time and then get in a car and go somewhere, you don't know who else was watching, so they're gonna follow you, so that all that money you showed, those kind of things. It's like doing stuff without thinking,
But it's kind of it goes back to self-esteem. If we don't think much of ourselves, then we have to put things on externally. If we don't feel good about ourselves on the inside,
but I bet people are not thinking that. They're not thinking that they don't feel good about themselves.
No.
I mean,
they're not. They're just reacting to. It's kind of almost like if I see you and you're driving a nice SUV, and I'm driving a Ford Focus or something, and I'm like, oh man, why can't I have a Ford Focus? It's about envying, this thing that the Bible said we shouldn't do, covet one another. Hello? Did somebody say something?
No.
Oh, I thought I heard somebody. Coveting something that your neighbor has, wanting what they have. I see you living in the suburbs in a house with a garage and a driveway and in a backyard for the kids to play in. And so I strive for that. Because if you got it, then what it makes me look like I'm poured in. I don't have the kind of money, or I don't make the kind of money to be able to have that. So now I have to make up for it by dressing up and looking like I live there. You might never see my house. You see what I'm saying? But by looking at the car that I drive and the clothes that I wear and the jewelry that I wear and the money that I flash, you would think I live in that house in the suburbs with the garage and the driveway and things of that nature. I give off the impression that I got money and I'm rich, only because that's what I desire to be. I want to be rich, and I want to be that person that I see that I'm envying, but I can't be that. So I just pretend to be it by putting on these designer clothes. Well, just like Vanessa said, real rich people don't even roll like that. So it kind of cancels itself out. If you're a real rich person and you see people walking around like that, you be like, they ain't got no money. Because rich people don't even move like that, What is Yolanda saying a lot tonight? What you saying now? She says, I say that now where people using that chat stuff, they're going to use it for evil. They can put guns on your picture. Everything is not good.
What's that? They can put guns on your picture. What is that?
You know how
I think she's talking about AI.
Yeah, chat GPT or whatever. You can put your picture in chat GPT and tell it to put you in a full body military armor with a gun, and it'll kick out a picture of you dressed up in a military outfit with a gun on.
Oh,
it can do all that stuff. And so what she's saying is that stuff that the police can use that to in cases, I mean, that's extreme. I don't think the police is going to be doing that. But the fact that that's a possibility and people can do that and use it to say, I seen so and so with so and so, and he had a gun on him. You know, you didn't have no gun, you had a cell phone in your hand, but they took the cell phone out using Chat GPT and put a gun in your hand, and then put that on social media. Now everybody think that's you. You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
So
Well, I think that's a curse too, is when we give the police or law enforcement, for lack of better words, too much, and I do mean too much credit to do harm towards us as the people, because I think we sometimes forget what their jobs and their description is. Nobody said that they had the power to actually kill. Their jobs are to serve and protect, and that's their 9 to 5, just like we clock into our 9 to 5. But the curse is that we have become so susceptible to their bad behavior and not do anything about it, that we have conditioned them to say that that's completely like okay. And so it just becomes a repetitive cycle. And it's kind of a curse because we do absolutely nothing. So I just can't fathom mentally or emotionally myself how somebody that went to an entire academy, you have been trained to deal with the mass public. You're trained for a hostile environment, and you just unalive people because you felt threatened when the other person has no weapons and you have the gun. You just use it because you don't know how to handle emotion. You felt threatened, but you're trained to deal with the public in hostile environments. So the people that you're talking to and communicating with they don't have any training on how to de-escalate a situation. That's where your training came in at. That's where you took an oath of office for. And we don't hold them accountable. And I think that is another curse for specific communities, especially ours, because nobody holds them accountable for unaliving our kids, literally.
I don't think we know how to hold them accountable. You know, it's just like a mother that don't know how to love her kids because her mama never loved her or never showed her love. You know, or a father, a guy that never shows his kids any emotion because his daddy was unemotional. You know, we are what we are taught, you know, or who we are around. And as a people, we in the 60s, they protested and they did what they felt was a methodology by which to get things that they wanted done. But we view all that kind of stuff as old school now. We ain't picketing, we ain't marching, we ain't boycotting, we ain't doing all that stuff. So if we're not doing any of that stuff, then if nobody came up with nothing better or new or modern to do in order to get the results that the people like in the civil rights movement got, if we're not doing any of that, then we don't do nothing because we don't know nothing to do other than complain and just keep it moving. And that's what we do, you know.
I mean, some of us know, but I think like the whole part of, you know, I wasn't given love by my parents, so therefore I don't know how to love. It's like I agree and disagree. I think that's a skill versus will type of ordeal, because you can come from a household, you can have multiple kids. Let's just say you have 5 and you were an alcoholic. It doesn't mean that all 5 of your kids are going to be an alcoholic. You may have one kid that becomes an alcoholic because that's what they've seen. And then you may have one that be like, hell no, I'm not doing that. I don't even drink because of what I've seen. That's the mentality of skill versus will. I don't want to do it because of what I've seen. I may have had childhood trauma, or another young lady may have had childhood trauma or not being loved correctly because she has mother issues. That doesn't mean she knows what not to do as a mother. So she may love her kids completely different by giving them something that she didn't receive. So I don't think that she's going to repeat the cycle by saying, because you didn't give it to me, I'm going to be after to my kids too. I don't think that that's how it goes. I think it's a skill versus will. And some people, I watch young men that didn't have their fathers become impeccable daddies because they show their kids the love that they wanted. So I can't totally agree with that. I think it depends on the person per se. But I think having an outlet or a safe space for, again, when we have like these topics of discussions, like Brenda said it a few, shows ago though, like, what do we do after the show is over? What do our viewers do after the show is over? How do we help after our show is over? Then that's like pretty much when we get to it for the change. That's when the transformation happens.
Right. Because the conversation that we're having is about instituting conversations that change. You know, just having this conversation tonight, somebody's going to change how they think about how they're teaching their children or what they're teaching their children. Because and if they're not teaching them anything, even, they have to understand that their children are learning just by watching them, by what they do. You know, I know of a woman that taught her children. She was a stickler, and it was a pet peeve of hers about lying. She hated for her children to lie to her, and she said, "You bet not lie to me. Don't you lie. That's the worst thing you do on the planet is to lie to me." And then she'll be on the phone talking, and somebody will come to the door, a bill collector or something. Well, bill collectors, that was back in the day, but let's say her girlfriend comes to the door, you know, and she say, "Tell her I'm not here. Tell her I'm not here." Now she's telling them to lie, but she was the main one saying that that's the worst thing that you can do. So now the children, she didn't teach, she's teaching them to lie, and she don't even understand that she's doing that. You see how these things can be done, and we ain't even aware that we are doing them because we just in our own little world, not thinking about how our children are perceiving our actions and our conversations and everything. Y'all see where I'm going with that?
Interesting. Mm-hmm. That was an interesting point. So I think back when we were growing up and probably what our parents was told, in that instance right there, I know for me, my mother would always say, "Do as I say, not as I do." So we knew, okay, we're supposed to do this regardless of what you do. And for some of us, that was enough. But it was always that kid that's like, well, if you did that, how can you tell me? You know, it's always going to be that. Londa, you touched on something really good, that skill versus will. And that's great. I see both sides though, because what about those few people who they grow up in chaos and all they see around them is chaos, so they don't realize that how they grew up was chaotic, and so they raise their children like that, and they still may get our age or older and not realize that what they did was chaotic, how their parents raised them was chaotic. And one of the good examples is like saying I love you. A lot of people our age and older didn't grow up with parents that said I love you. You knew you were loved, but for whatever reason, because our parents didn't get that from their parents, like the I love you, let me hug you and all of that, you knew, but it wasn't said. It wasn't one of those things that was spoken. You knew because you knew. But I do like that skill versus will, because there are many children who, like you said, grow up and see an absent father and say, I'll never do this to my kids. I'm going to make sure I'm always in their life. Or they may have a mother who is physically or verbally abusive, and they say, I'm never going to talk to my kids like this, and they don't. Sometimes it may help that generation and it may hurt that generation. Right now, we're dealing with something like that. Most of us who were raised getting beat or getting whoopings, you know, we may have whooped our children, but these kids nowadays don't want to touch their kids. And not this generation, the generation before them. They didn't think that they needed to discipline their children. And we're seeing how that discipline may have really been helpful to us. You know, because we got out of line, but we didn't cross the line. And now some of these kids, they have no respect and they don't think you can talk to them or you can't touch their kids. They won't touch their kids, and these kids are running over them. When we grew up, we'd be like, you need to whoop his little butt. You need to whoop her little butt. Because we knew it was going to get you in line some kind of way. But sometimes when we think we're ending generational curses, sometimes we may be starting a new one. Because this whole discipline thing is part of that problem.
Yes.
So we have to be, we have to really think hard about some of the things that are truly curses or just that we don't want to deal with them or not.
Man, most definitely.
I agree 1,000%.
Hey, I got another one, y'all. Check this one out. This is called the guilt trip. And it says, if you make it, if you become successful, I have to pay for everyone else. This often drains you, the person that became successful, in the family to achieve success, pulling you down or back down rather than letting them stabilize. And I think what that's saying is it's something that this concept that we pass down from generations to generation. When I was young and I was in high school, I was playing football, and I told my mom I was going to be in the NFL. And when I went to the NFL, I was going to buy her a house. You see what I'm saying? And so every little boy, grows up with that if he's close with his mother, because everybody in their relationship with their mama ain't the same. But that was just me. But these young men that have been kind of under the understanding that if I become successful, I got to take care of everybody in my family. You can see them. You can see it right now in the NFLs, the NBA, whatever. They buying they bring their family on as staff and entertainment. They go on the road. They got all their people with them on the road. They got to put them on salary and all of that. And what this is saying is the guilt part of that, how you feel like you are obligated because you made it, that you have to pay for everybody else or you have to take care of everybody else. What do you all think? Is that a part of or a cycle of curse? A curse that we seem to, a mental curse that we seem to have, that if we become successful, we got to take care of everybody else in our family and make sure they're okay.
I think that's a curse of entitlement.
A curse of entitlement?
Yes.
On the person that made it, or on the people that did?
No, the person that didn't make it, they feel entitled, to attach themselves to the other person's success.
But that person that becomes successful has to believe it too, because they can say, "Hell no, I ain't giving you nothing, man. I made this money. That's where
the guilt trip. That's where the guilt come in at, right? Because you can be made to think that it's your obligation to do that.
Yes.
So.
But do y'all think in this day and time that the people that made it is really feeling guilty and taking care of their families? Do y'all really think that's what's happening, or are they the people that made it saying exactly what you just said? No, hell no, this is my money, and all I'm gonna take care of is my mama. And sometimes, like you said, they didn't have a good relationship with their mom. They're not taking care of her either. I mean, that's what I see.
Kind of seeing what it is now.
I think it's the dynamic of the family. The dynamic of the family and how you were raised. If you were raised close knit and you all that you guys got, then yeah, more than likely you guys are gonna think like that. But it all depends on how the nucleus of that family is, I think.
I think it's a curse because your family always tell you got to take care of your family. You got to take care of your brothers and sisters if I'm not around. So it's like it's being passed down. That responsibility is being passed down onto you. Like, yeah, if you make it, you got to take care of your family. You got to take care of your brothers and sisters. So, yeah, it's put on you. And it's like you got to carry that burden now.
And then, but you pass that mindset gets passed down, because after we die, our children we passed that. Remember, take care of your brothers and sisters.
Kids. I tell my daughter all the time, you your brother's keeper. Watch your brother. Look out for your brother. Tell it all the time. So
So when you're saying that, are you saying you're not saying that for a bad reason? I mean, you're just really saying family. I mean, that's all she got, right? I mean, you got those 2 kids. You're not trying to guilt her. You're not trying to say because you made it or you got it, just give it to him. I mean, that's not a bad thing, right? You're not.
But
you're not
they might take it because you constantly telling somebody, look out for your siblings. Look out for the family.
Right. Yeah. And I agree that's not a bad thing, but it becomes a bad thing when you're looking out for your family. You become a crutch now. They don't do nothing with their life because you're gonna take care of them. You're gonna pay all their bills. If they go to jail, you're gonna go bail them out. You the cash machine now, the ATM.
There's people who don't take care of.
Right. I think it's subjective. If you grew up in a family like that, where, hey, we all look out for each other, we take care of each other, then I would think if someone came into something, then they would look out for their family. But we see where it hurts people and it helps some and hurts some. I think a lot of that too is about how the people around you that are asking for help or thinking that you have to help them. That makes a difference too, because if you're trying to guilt trip me like, oh well, I have this and you have this and that because I was always there, or I did this for you when we were younger, and if I didn't do this for you then, you wouldn't have that then. Some people play on people like that. That's where then maybe it's one of the bad ways. MC Hammer, remember when he went broke? Hammer was on top of the world. He wanted to help everybody, but everybody wasn't in it with Hammer for him to win. They were on his coattail because they could go different places. They could spend money, his money. But at the end of the day, when he started going broke, nobody was saying, hey, let's take up some money. Let's try to help Hammer out. Let's make sure he don't lose this or that. So sometimes when you pouring into other people, if they're not pouring back, you have to stop. It's as simple as that. We're seeing this right now in the social media, going crazy over Glorilla. One of her siblings is on there bashing her, but I don't know if she really is like as weird, and I'm saying weird because I think the girl is weird. The way she's coming on there, putting all their family business out there and trying to make Glorilla look bad. Because if that girl lose everything today, you still her sister. And if you're doing this just because you get so many hits or you get to go on somebody's talk show, I don't like that, because you could find another way. You could be on there praising your sister and get on did this, blah, blah, blah. And they'll be wanting to hear those stories too. She did what?
No, they don't. No, they won't.
Yeah, but she's jealous. She's jealous of her sister. That's all it is.
It depends. It depends on the audience.
People like drama. Now Fantasia Daddy didn't join in the conversation.
Look, if she wants, if she is catering to drama, that's what's gonna sell. But
that pays
there's
money.
Always somebody who wants a softer side too, so she could find a way.
It's cute, but it doesn't pay money. They want the fame and the fortune.
You know what? And think about this, because we got somebody that we talk about all the time about how they do stuff on the internet so they could get them hits or money. But it is about that, but it's about their character too.
So let me ask you
who I'm talking about, but
our friendly friend.
Let me say this. At the end of the day, just like he has a choice to do things a better way, she does too. We don't have to air out all the family drama and talk bad about the family, because at the end of the day, you don't put all this dirt on the family name. Why would I want to do something for you? If you need a kidney tomorrow, now you got me thinking I don't even want to give you a kidney tomorrow. because you won't appreciate it. You probably won't take care of it. So a lot of times we do a lot of stuff to hurt our own selves and hurt our own.
Yeah.
And that's part of the curse right there. How we don't love each other. And Yolanda said something about it. Like, we'll do it for the clear people. Why can't we do it for our own? We need to learn how to love each other.
I agree. What do you want to say, Kim? What was your comment?
I want to say, like, if you don't do it for the day, it was like, well, you would block your blessing. So that's you putting a curse on me. Tell me I'm blocking my blessings, and this is not how the Lord say. So you cursing me that way. So just like everyone on this panel, if you win $1 million or a multi-million-dollar winner, do you feel that you're obligated to take care of your family, not your immediate family, your whole family? And they come to you and say, you blocking your blessing. The Lord not going to bless you.
Well, girl, I thank you for that multi-million-dollar blessing that you just gave me. I appreciate it. And I'm going to claim it in front of all these people. Thank you. I appreciate it tomorrow. Thank you. However,
I got to say this. Y'all see what Sasa said? Just because you can count people don't mean you can count on people.
This is true.
Oh,
what did you want to say, V? Hold on, V. What you want to say?
Oh no, I was just saying about the million. I was like, shit. First of all, when even nobody knew I had $1 million, I wouldn't even tell nobody I had $1 million. None of my friends. I mean, my friend, we cool, but I wouldn't tell nobody I had $1 million like that. You know what I'm saying? I just.
But you know what gives it away? Man. What gives it away? V, you pull up in a Porsche. That's how we do. That's
my mentality, though. I wouldn't be pulling up in no Porsche, not with no $1 million. $1 million. I'm paying the house off. The house getting paid off. I'm upgrading the house, so I'm gonna pay it off, get it upgraded. So when I want to pop it off later, I could pop it off for more than I bought it for. And then I'm gonna just, I'm gonna put, I got shit aligned. I'm gonna do something smart with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna make more. And then if I want to help people, I can help my people. You know what I'm saying? Bring up the people who I know want to do something, so that I pull them up, and then I know they're going to go back and pull other people up. It's not just on me.
Right. Yes.
Right. Because even when they see that the house looks good, all you gotta say is, "Oh, I did a little something." Nobody have to know.
People remember all the time.
Some money. You got some money.
Right. Yeah.
So what? You gonna block your blessing? You gonna block your blessing? You ain't blessing other people. That's what you're supposed to do with the money. Bless other people.
Nah, when they put the curse overtime. That's how I got the money. I worked overtime.
Right.
They gonna tell you.
No, you don't have to tell nobody nothing about how you got your monies. You don't.
You don't.
No,
people feel.
But we do because we like attention. We like that attention. So we tell everybody because we want them kissing our butts and begging us for this and begging us for that. We love. I ain't saying us. I'm just saying there are people within our race that have that personality. And just like Londa said, there's different levels to this thing. There are some people that, like V said, ain't gonna say nothing. They're gonna operate in the background. You know what I'm saying? And make things happen behind the scene and this, that, and another. Then you got that person that's gonna want to put it all on Facebook and stand there showering themselves with the money, so everybody can see them. Yeah, oh, man.
Like Goldie.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, if I win some money, you want to see me, you'll see my representative.
So you see your representative, huh?
Mm-hmm. And I do a video chat with everybody.
Then they be on Facebook talking about how you didn't change.
Everybody running away.
So you see how money changed people? You can't even call her up. I had a number. She changed the number.
Yes, it did.
That's
my representative.
That's people with lack mentality.
To my representative.
Oh, well.
Well, y'all already know I'm just gonna disappear. Disappear now, so it won't even be different.
But you gonna go buy an island?
My kids talking about some holding them for Bitcoin ransom. Nope. Now they tell you that's on them, but you ain't gonna find.
Yeah, money brings on other stuff. Yeah. Having big money brings on other
people will guilt trip you.
Well, I mean, we only got about 6 minutes, y'all. Before we go into
my own siblings.
Before we go into our closing remarks, I got one more thing I want to bring up here.
And like you said, it's that family curse that you obligated to take care of the family.
The curse of silence. The curse of silence.
The family, they got lives and they living their best lives, doing their best things. They're not looking out for you. They're not taking care of you.
Kim, you probably can't hear nobody talking, can you? I was just saying I was gonna give us another one before we get out of here. But maybe I cut you off. I'm sorry. That's probably what happened. Oh, now she gone. I hurt her feelings.
Go ahead, man.
Did I hurt her feelings, man?
No, she probably coming back. She might think
there she go. There she
wrong with the system.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, she's back.
Can you hear us?
No, I can't. I couldn't hear y'all at first.
Oh, okay. I knew something was wrong. I was like, you probably can't hear us.
I couldn't. I have to come back. Can't.
Okay, we good. All right, before we get out of here, the curse of silence. Now, this is dealing with about what happens in this house, stays in this house.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, do we pass that down? You see what I'm saying? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, all that crap we keep saying, to hide stuff. This is how predators hide. Because we hold this little curse, generational thing. What happens in the house stays in the house. You don't talk about the house outside the house. But if somebody in the house doing something wrong, then what?
Right.
Talk about it.
You don't talk about it.
Right. But if you talk not to, if you're taught, you bet not go outside this house saying anything about anything going on in this house. You gonna, as a child, you gonna go against that? And then when you grow up, do you teach your kids that?
Well, actually, go ahead. Actually, in my house, I never heard that. My mom never said that. But there was some things you knew that you don't talk about outside the house. Like if your mom and dad had a conversation that you knew they didn't want that outside the house. But I had that kind of a mother. But that thing is hurting a whole lot of people today. That thing is from way back when. That is a long time curse. It's hurting a whole lot of people today because of molestation. It's still happening today. And me, who mentors young ladies, that is a sensitive subject to me. That's so bad to me that when I see some young people, if a girl is overactive in a way, overdoing to me, which may not be what I think it is, that bothers me. It makes me think that something happened to her when she was younger, and now she's out here, and if she has some kids, they're gonna see some stuff. And yeah, that stuff right there, I think is a curse, and it's still happening, and I don't know how we will ever stop that. I think that what goes on in this house, that's the same with getting beat up. Mom got beat up in the house, so nobody talked about it. And then when the daughters got older, she thought it was okay. Mom got beat up and her and daddy stayed together, and we didn't tell nobody. So now my boyfriend could beat me up. I mean, mom and dad did it. My mom stayed with him forever, and I'm gonna let that alone, because that thing right there is a thing to me. And ain't nobody, my mama didn't get beat up. My mama might have punched my daddy once or twice. My mama didn't get beat up.
That just makes me wonder if that type of stuff came up because people were trying to hide abuse, no matter what type of abuse, verbal, sexual. If that's where it came about, because we were trying to hide things and cover it up in our families.
Yes.
So I think that what goes on in this house stays in this house is a family curse. That I definitely don't do that. The real curse back in the day, from when I could think of, that is a sensitive topic that some might not want to talk about, is because your grandma and your great aunties taught you that, because their husbands and their brothers that was downstairs living in the basement that had fondling fingers and things that they weren't aware of, was to be kept a secret. So you knew that your brother was downstairs in the basement and shouldn't be around these kids, but it was a family secret. So what goes on in this house stays in this house, and you done traumatized all these kids, and not just one, a whole lot of them.
Yes.
And that's how it just kept being repetitive cycles, because you got the mama, then you got the daughter, then you got the cousin, then you got and it just kept going.
Right.
And that was the great aunties and the grandmas promised they mamas that they was gonna look after and take care of their bloodline, which was their brother. So the curse just kept on happening until he died, I'm assuming. But I'm just saying.
Yes.
Most definitely.
We tend to all agree on that one.
Oh, yeah, because it's true. It really is. And you can see it. It's still happening today. You can see that.
I was just thinking that, and people keep thinking that these young girls are doing things because of, and some of them are just doing stuff because it's popular. But you gotta watch. You just gotta watch. We just gotta watch. Watch and pray. That's what the Bible says. Watch and pray.
And basically, yes. And basically, we have to, like we said in the beginning, the buck has to stop somewhere.
You
know. And so, if people are looking at this podcast today, and they have young children or grandchildren, they have to deprogram. Maybe I ain't saying them. I'm saying we have to deprogram our children and our great grandchildren to out of that mindset of keeping secrets. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that, because they shouldn't go out and say, my mama drink a lot, go to school. Oh yeah. My mama drink in the morning, she drink in the afternoon, and she drink in the evening. Then your mama might say, hey, what goes on in this house, stay in this house. Then you got to be able to tell the difference between your mama's business and something that's not hurting anybody else but your mama, then somebody molesting the children in the house, and it's hurting other people.
If your mama drink in the morning and the afternoon and the
evening, is hurting the child. That's why they talk
about it. It is hurting the child.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why they brung it up.
Tell somebody.
I was thinking about a secret. Like, don't kid go out. The cable guy came by this morning. Somebody like, what cable guy? I ain't called the cable guy.
And speaking of
cable,
we ain't got cable.
So for my closing thoughts, I just want to say for my closing thoughts, because B just said secret. But people just watching, I teach my kids, any adult that asks you to keep a secret is not a safe adult. And I don't care if it's a secret about candy. I don't care if it's a secret about tickles. I don't care if it's a secret about anything, money, anything. Any adult that asks a kid to keep a secret is not a safe adult. And you're going to come and tell mommy, there's no secret with mine. So please don't ask my kids to keep a secret. I don't care if you gave them soda. It's not a secret. You understand? And that's just my closing thought, and I'm done.
Amen. I like that. That is true.
Just adding on your closing thought for my closing thought. Also, when they are doing things or trying to do things to these kids and say, I'll hurt your mom, I'll hurt your dad, I'll do this. Tell me anyway. If they're going to kill me, then still tell me. Because a lot of times they play on kids with that one too.
Yeah. If you say
we're going to do harm to someone in the family.
Or, I've seen movies where I kill your little sister. You better not say nothing. And because she loved her little sister, she ain't gonna say nothing, And we got to, and see, this is why we have to be specific, and we have to tell teach our children and our grandchildren things, the difference between secrets and these secrets that we are being asked to keep that are what would I call it? Death-defying, harmful things that can happen to people in our family. You don't keep those kind of secrets. Maybe, I guess, because see, there's really no way. You just got to keep that secret thing out altogether. You see what I'm saying? There can't be any secrets.
Yeah, because actually, there's nothing that an adult should be asking a child to keep secret anyway.
Or another child.
Yes.
All predators are not adults.
Very true
too. That's very true. You got older cousins and stuff like that come to visit. They do that little thing too. But look, our time is up, y'all. I gotta jump on the Zoom call, but I thank you all for being on. I think this was a great conversation. You know, we got some good information out of it. You know, whereas we kind of understand what's going on here. You know, when we're talking about family curses and breaking them, and what are some of these curses that we need to break. You know, so I think Yolanda, Miss Sasai, was made a comment. She was on here checking us out. We had Beloved Lion. It's a friend of mine that lives in Atlanta. I don't know if he's still in Atlanta, but he's checking us out from Atlanta. Who else we got on here? Who was that?
Darlene was out.
Oh, I saw, yeah, Darlene was on here. Then it's somebody, Minister 01.
Yeah.
That was on here. So we thank you guys for being on. We thank you for your comments. We thank you for checking us out. Let your friends and your family know about the Transformation Institute podcast. We have some very interesting conversations on not this coming Thursday, but the following Thursday. We're going to have a financial advisor that's going to come on. That's going to be talking. We're going to be talking and having a discussion with him about Social Security. You know, Trump, he trying to push the age of Social Security, and sometimes people don't even know when they can file and what's the best age that you're supposed to file for. And we also going to be talking about some other financial things with a financial advisor. So mark that on your calendar. That's going to be March the 5th. That we're going to be having that podcast. Well, check us out next week. We'll be black in a week. So until then, continue to think for a change. I'm Omari JAHI, and we out, y'all.
All right.
Thanks for supporting our podcast. We look forward to see you next Thursday at 8 p.m. We also ask that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. The more subscribers we have, the more YouTube will push our podcast to more viewers. But until then, subscribe also for a peaceful mind. Your activity will reflect that peace.